Okay, I'm going to do things a little bit out of order here, and I hope, George, you're okay with this, but I'm going to go to public comment first and then come back to questions of the applicant. Any problems with that, George?
No.
Okay. At this time, would anyone in the audience like to address the board in the category of public comment? Dr. Markley? Whoops. Pam, you're already up here. Welcome, Pam.
I think most of you know who I am. I'm Pam Clark McKinley. I have Clark's Appliances on 63rd Street. I benefited from the 353 abatement. My comment to redoing of Center 63. Ever since we had a bridge down for several months, I think Todd Glidewell and I can personally tell you that we have never, ever regained our traffic count. It's killing us, folks. I, as of today, had 2 people in my store. We need something in this area to bring the traffic down 63rd Street again, something to draw them to us so that they see that we're there. I personally think that redoing this center, bringing a major tenant in to where we can rebuild that area will be a great benefit to all of us along 63rd. I also hope with doing that we can start changing the area going down further. We need to think about rebuilding our downtown, not just what's going on 50 Highway. Our downtown is very important. We have lots of mom and pop shops like me that sit there, and we need help. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Dr. Markley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, for letting me come tonight on behalf of the school district and the Board of Education to give you some comments. First, let me tell you on the camera situation, 500 cameras in the district, I can view them from this phone. And the school district, and we're represented tonight by Mr. Rick Toady, Miss Amy Tittle, and Mr. Terry Landers, who are on the Board of Education, earmarked $1 million of school district funds to finish that project. So we have gone a long way. Check Channel 4 as of yesterday. They did a story on our cameras and the training we did yesterday. Also on our safety sensors on our buses so we don't leave kids on buses after we've shut them down. So we've done a lot of things, and we're proud of what we're doing. We appreciate your support.
We're proud of the school district.
Now on December 24th, or December 21st, it was quite a long meeting, and this one's much shorter, and that's appreciated. But I will tell you, we have met with the developers, and they have met with us in good faith, and I appreciate that. We've had some good conversations. The offer of $60,000 is generous, but it's not enough. It's based on assumptions, on numbers, and on assessment of that property. I have not seen any appraisals of that property and what it's worth. I can not say with confidence, but almost guess that it's probably assessed at 50% of its value. We know from the last meeting that they did protest their taxes with the county to have them lowered, and they were. Show us some numbers. Show us some real numbers so we can see what it's actually going to be. We have $81 million in capital needs. I told you that last time. Over the last 4 years, we've reduced our budget by over $6 million. We have addressed the expenditure problem in the Raytown C2 school district. It's no longer an expenditure problem. It's a revenue problem. There are too many unanswered questions. The assumptions, the appraised value, the new numbers we reached tonight, it concerns me. If it's passed as is, programs will be in jeopardy. The city, developers, and Sav-A-Lot need to ask themselves if they want to be the ones responsible for possibly eliminating the swim team, 4th and 5th grade orchestra, what cuts I have to make. Please remember that your school district is a key economic tool as well, not just 353 tax abatements. My final thought. Table the agenda item. Excuse me, table the agenda item. Have the city, the developer, and the school district come to the table. Let's see how we can make everyone whole. Let's find a way to say yes to this project. We're in favor of this development, not just in the form that it's in. We're in favor. Let's find a way we can all win. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Toady.
Good evening. Thanks for letting me speak tonight. I'm Rick Tody. I'm an elected member of the Raytown School Board. I'm also a former CPA partner with PricewaterhouseCoopers and have served in a capacity of performing due diligence reviews on projects like Sav-A-Lots for the past 33 years. I'm speaking to you as a board member and taxpayer of Raytown, and I was intrigued at the 353 presentation and felt that I needed to speak up. Based on my career in finance and accounting, I could summarize the notion of 353 as follows. 353 has its place, but it is simply a tax giveaway. It is unjust and unfair to residents and businesses who pay taxes in the normal course of business. The Missouri legislature must eventually decide to reduce or eliminate tax credits, abated taxes, and the like, or schools and state and local governments cannot survive. Now, in this project, if the abated taxes are not made up by either the city, the landowner, or Sav-A-Lot, 8,700 kids in this district will get hurt. Please give Dr. Markley and his team the opportunity to form a compromise that avoids peril for the children of the district. We always have time to do the right thing. And in closing, Mr. Ertz, you asked the question last week about, or 2 weeks ago, about the financial condition of super value. And CPAs like to make sure that we have a fair presentation. And so this morning, I too read the Sav-A-Lot 10Q. I did this for a living. I read the press reports, and I noted that in 2010, and maybe this is what you were alluding to, in December 2010, Moody's downgraded SuperValue's credit from investment grade to speculative. They have excessive debt from recent acquisitions, which will come due in a great part in 2011. And that debt must be bridged by a bank line of credit. And that will bring significant risk to the debt holders and the stockholders of SuperValue. I hope that helps. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Hello, my name is Steve Steffes. I own a business in the shopping center. It's Lost Chili's. I've been here for 19 years. And I just found out tonight I'm in a blighted area. So I hope you guys do something about that. I know you guys also talked about Raytown School District losing that money if that happens. But since Cottage's Thriftway has been closed, I've lost $30,000. And finally, a few years back, I guess it's been about 20 years ago, a business was going to go into that area. But the way I understand it, the city council would not approve an additional liquor license at that time. So that business moved from Raytown to Kansas City. Of course, Raytown lost that sales tax. And that business has now moved back to Raytown 16 years later. But then Raytown decided to increase the liquor license after that happened, and I was the recipient of that new liquor license. So I'd hate to see that happen again, losing another business to other areas than ours. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. Steve, I appreciate it. Yes, sir.
I'll be very brief, gentlemen. My name is Jack Cardwell. I'm a licensed certified general appraiser. I have performed blight studies and rent studies and appraisals and property tax analysis for such clients as Kansas City Star, J.A. Dunn, St. Luke's, Costantino's, Raytown Water Company, 63rd Drive-In, Local 42, quite a few companies in this area. The only thing I wanted to say is when the Kansas City Star was acquiring the properties that they acquired, I was involved in that. And much of the blight was on the inside of the buildings, not visible, but it was significant blight, and it did affect the value of those properties. and they were considered blighted and purchased by the Star. If not purchased by the Star, they would still be deteriorating with nothing done downtown. And the other thing I want to mention is that in 2006, the two appraised values on the subject that you're talking about was $3,500,000 by Jackson County. I performed valuation analysis along with some attorneys hired by the clients, and the valuations now are $2 million approximately on that center. So that's another way that it does fall under blight because of loss of taxes and loss of value. And those properties are valued on the amount of income and expenses they generate. And as that site will no longer fill up, or that will space still stay vacant, it will continue to fall in value and taxes will fall anyway. And finally, please remember that that was a grocery site a few years ago. But I do appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cornwell. Steve?
Good evening, everyone. Steve Gunther, local resident here, but also a downtown business owner. And my background in architecture is also with urban planning. So I expend a lot of time not only with the Raytown Main Street Association as their acting president, trying to research and find a better solution for our downtown, but I know the importance of foot traffic, and I know the importance because all I have to do is get on the Main Street website and ask a question, and I can get responses from hundreds of thousands of main streets that are already across the country. They've told me through emails just how important not only grocery stores are, but how important city parks are, and how important foot traffic is, and how important it is to have pedestrians in your downtown area. And I would just urge you all, as a citizen and as also an advocate for the Main Street Association, which I can't really speak for yet because we haven't had our meeting until this Friday, but to work this out. It needs to get worked out. I urge you to get with the school district and to get with this team and make this happen. We are desperate need of a grocery store downtown. We all know that, but we're also in need of the people to be downtown, to be revitalizing our downtown area. And if there's any other questions, I can be glad to answer those.
Thanks, Steve. Anyone else? Andy?
One of the older people here said that the owner of the property caused the blight. I feel that is untrue, in that the way these business rentals are handled, the tenant is responsible for the interior. So it was the tenant who caused the blight. Besides that, they had to remove all the fixtures. There's vacant flooring. So it is not caused by the owner of the building. Also, this type of business is desperately needed in Raytown. In this downtown area, we have many senior citizens who depend on walking to a grocery store. That's one reason I bought my house, because there's a grocery store within walking distance at the time. It was 10 years ago. Now there are none. Hopefully there will be one when I sell my house. But I have observed two other people I know walk quite a distance across the 63rd Street Bridge to the old Thriftway. And they'd probably be doing that again. So just for community's sake of grocery shopping, this is a necessary item. And as for the schools, 75% of my property taxes goes to schools. I find that outrageous. Raytown is going to be the point for only the rich, because who can afford taxes in Raytown with these schools here usurping 75% of taxes? That's ridiculous. Now, if they want to cut out the electives, I think that's a great idea. Let's cut out the electives. It should be user-financed and paid for. Dr. Markley told me people here can't pay for it. But, you know, if they want it, they'll pay for it. Other districts, they pay for these things. And so another thing is there's people on the board drawing big paychecks. You know, when they have a school election for bond issue, The magic words are, it's for the children, it passes. Okay, this time it's for the children. Let's cut pay. Won't people be glad to have their pay cut? It's for the children. Definitely cut their pay. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to, I think, George, can I close the public hearing or should I keep it open still?
I would give the...
Let's keep it open. Keep it open for the time being. Christine, would you like to respond to the questions here, issues? And I've tried to take notes as well, so.
But the only real comment that we'd like to make is that we have had good discussions with the school district, and we understand the issues related to the economy and how that's impacting all of the entities that rely upon ad valorem property taxes to pay their employees. We also are sensitive to the fact that the city is one of those tax, not necessarily just property tax, but other types of tax-supported programs, entities, excuse me. With all due respect, I think that may be a bit of an exaggeration to think that a whole bunch of programming is going to be lost in the Raytown School District due to the fact that they're not getting $6,500 a year for 10 years or 11 years off of this property. When we saw a grant application of $150,000 that was received just this evening by the school district. So as much as we have looked very closely at how we can make this work and make this development happen from a financial standpoint in a very difficult economic time. The city is struggling in a difficult economic time, and the school district is. And I think what we've come to for this evening is a compromise for all of those entities. But on the city side of this deal, we see the potential of $6.4 million in sales tax revenue over the next 25 years. We see an additional 40 full-time jobs and 36 to 39 part-time jobs and retained jobs that are there at the center right now. In addition, you have approximately $50,000 plus in real estate taxes that you wouldn't otherwise have if this development didn't happen, and as well as $27,000 in personal property taxes. And those are significant funds that are part of this deal for the city that really isn't being talked about. And we want to emphasize that because we want to make this investment, and we've done what we can to try to make the numbers work. We think that it's a good investment on the city side, and we would encourage a favorable decision on your part as it relates to this, and we'd like that decision made this evening. And with that, I'll ask my property owners if they'd like to make some comments. They can.